This is a terrible man. How can you sit here and allow your children to be in this situation? Oh, this is pissing me off. This is why men deserve less. I mean, you can't trust them. Hello, little enzymes. Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. The topic for today is irritating in-laws. Maybe I'll call it that. It has to do with in-laws and family issues. So we have two stories. They both have updates. All of the information will be included in the description, and let's just go ahead and get into it. So the first story is, am I the a-hole for ruining my own gender reveal party? I'm pregnant with a baby boy due in November. My fiance and I didn't care much about the sex of our child, so we didn't make too much noise about it once we found out. The only people we'd informed were our parents, their partners, and our siblings. Prior to this, my father's girlfriend of 3 years had been asking me about my plans for a gender reveal party. I've always been clear about not wanting one. When I announced my son's gender to them, she expressed disappointment that I hadn't changed my mind about a party. I don't like gender reveals, never have, never will. I prefer baby showers, which I think feel more about the actual child. I never tried to hide that opinion either. Days later, my father's girlfriend invited me over for tea at their apartment. My dad was out of town. When I got there, about a dozen people popped out of hiding to surprise me. There were pink and blue decorations everywhere, which made what was going on pretty clear. As I stood there in shock, my father's girlfriend excitedly told me they were throwing me a surprise gender reveal party. Since I'd already told her, she had taken it upon herself to order a cake with colorful frosting, decorate the apartment, and invite a bunch of people over. The guests including her mom, whom I don't get along with, some of her friends, my mother-in-law, not my mom, and 4 of my friends. As I later found out, my mother-in-law and friends had been told I'd changed my mind about gender reveals. I had not. Still in the doorway, I looked over at everyone and said, "It's a boy. You guys can go home now." I left without looking back. Hours later, my father called me furious that I'd ruined the entire party. He said his girlfriend had put a lot of effort, money, and love into planning it, and I should have shown respect and gratitude for it. Apparently, she hadn't stopped crying since I left. It's been almost a week and they're both still upset. Even after I explained I never wanted the party in the first place, they're insisting I could have sucked it up for an hour or at least cut the cake. Am I the a-hole? A tale as old as freaking time. Like over and over and over again, we get these stories of these fathers who get a new wife, a new girlfriend, a new love interest in their life that just continues to over freaking step. And they always take their side. What about your child? The person that you brought into the world? If someone says that they don't like something and you do it anyway, you can't be mad at how they react. What is not clicking here? You know her. You know that she said that she doesn't want to do this. You do it anyway, and then you get mad that she didn't just suck it up. So then that shows that you're trying to be manipulative because you tried to manipulate her into a situation where you felt she would feel too bad for saying no because there were so many people around or whatever. And you manipulated her into that situation to get what you wanted. And for what reason? It's not your, like, as far as like the father's girlfriend is concerned, why are you so invested in this? It's not your child. It's not even your grandchild because you're not even the wife. It just baffles me. I just don't get it. You did all that for what? Some of the comments, someone said, not the a-hole. This smacks of her trying to prove that she cares about you more than your mom, especially seeing as how either your mom wasn't invited or she turned down the invitation to respect your wishes. She doesn't seem to get that the way to prove she cares about you at all is to actually listen to what you want and don't want. OP responded, I asked my mom. She confirmed she was not invited. According to my father's girlfriend, she didn't have her number. That's probably true, but I have no idea how she could have gotten my mother-in-law's. Someone else said, not the a-hole. Dad's girlfriend sounds like someone who enjoys bulldozing boundaries. Wait until she expects to be in the delivery room with you. OP responded, our hospital will only allow me and my fiance in. Thankfully, no one has asked us to be there anyway. Someone else, not the a-hole. This was all about her, not you. She knew you don't like gender reveal parties and she insisted on throwing you one anyways. She also lied to your friends and mother-in-law. Maybe she didn't invite your own mom because your mom would have known better. OP responded, had my mom been invited, not only would she have known better, but she also would have told me about the party in advance. Someone else said, there was cake. You could have deliberately misunderstood and said, thank you for the baby shower for my baby boy, and then stayed for cake. Then you could have also, in between bites of cake, acted all confused to the guests and said, I'm so glad she respected my wishes on not having a gender reveal party and threw me a shower like I preferred, and then went and got another slice of cake. SMH, missed opportunity to have your cake and eat it too. That would have been funny and petty. OP responded, it wouldn't have worked. The moment they all yelled, surprise, she said it was a gender reveal. The decorations also made it obvious. My fiance did get me cake after all of this, so I didn't really miss out on that. Another comment, and they lied to your family and friends saying you changed your mind. That reeks of psycho and a permanent boundary crosser to me. Point out that lying about you is unacceptable, and either he changes his attitude or you'll have to go low contact until he breaks up with Miss Psychopath. OP responded, honestly, the fact that she brought my friends and family into this is what angers me the most. And the last comment, weird that they wouldn't invite him. It's his kid too, and his family was there. OP responded, when she invited me over for tea, she added that my fiance could come along too if he wanted. I didn't bring him with me because he'd scheduled a class at the gym and we thought it was just tea at the time. I do think it's weird that she didn't make more of a fuss about it. Yeah. So then there was an update. She said, thank you all for your replies, especially those who called me the a-hole for having a gender reveal. I'm assuming you didn't read my post, but you still crack me up. All jokes aside, I've been expected to be a pushover for most of my life, older daughter of divorced parents. So it was good to know I was right to stand my ground on this issue. After reading your comments, I've concluded that the only thing I did wrong was leaving without talking to my friends and mother-in-law. They were lied to and put in an awkward position after I left. I did talk to them the next day and apologized, but I wish I'd told them what was going on. A few days ago, my fiance and I invited my father and his girlfriend over. I told them I was extremely upset with them both, but I wanted to sort this out peacefully. We still ended up fighting. My father agreed to some points I made, but kept insisting that I was ungrateful and owed his girlfriend an apology. Are you freaking serious? See, situations like this would bring the petty out of me, because then I would intentionally have to create a situation that I knew the father didn't like and force it on him so that he could see exactly what I meant. Because people like that, they only get it when it's happening to them. They only understand things when it personally affects them. OP continues, she was quiet at first, but started crying about 20 minutes into the fight. My father's girlfriend said she threw the party because she cared about me and that she'd want one if she was pregnant. She started talking about all the gender reveal videos she'd watched on TikTok and how happy the parents looked in them. She told me she genuinely thought I'd love it and couldn't understand why I'd been so rude to her. How do you think that? She has told you over and over that she don't want that. How do you think that all of a sudden she changed her mind because you watched some TikTok videos that influenced you? How old is this girl? Now she's projecting, basically the father's girlfriend is projecting what she would want onto someone else. OP continues, to my surprise, my fiance was the first to snap at that. He's usually the calm one. He told her to stop calling it my party since she clearly threw it for herself. I had expressed countless times that I didn't want a gender reveal, and I was well within my rights to leave when she tried to ambush me with one. The fight didn't go on for much longer after that. Near its end, my father asked me why I hadn't at least played along for a while. I told him I went there expecting to spend an hour with someone I've been meaning to get to know better, not to spend my entire afternoon entertaining a dozen people, more than half of whom I either didn't know or didn't like, who got together to talk about my child's privates. I didn't mean to upset anyone, but I had to get out. My father didn't argue with that. There were two main pieces of advice from your comments that I decided to follow. The first was to tell my father's girlfriend she needed to apologize to my friends and mother-in-law for lying to them. She agreed, and they later confirmed she did. Secondly, neither of them will be allowed to meet my son at the hospital when he's born. My father had been looking forward to this, so it wasn't an easy decision, but I made it clear it was final. My father called me the next day to apologize for everything, and I forgave him. I don't expect an apology from his girlfriend, but I'm done feeding that fire. My life is stressful enough as it is. My son will be here in November. He already has a name, and we've just started working on his nursery. I truly can't wait to meet him. So someone said, for the sake of your mental health, do not tell anyone the names you have chosen. Opie said, oh, we're not saying anything until birth. The only people who know besides us are my best friend, who will be my son's godmother, and her husband. Someone else said, I had a small gender reveal party before it was this huge thing. We all had a good laugh at the name, and everyone agreed it was a biological sex reveal, and the kid may grow up to be a different gender. Honestly, I just wanted the fun of smashing a piñata and then knowing which name we'd get to go with. We had names picked out for future kids way before I got pregnant. OP responded, that's actually the reason why my fiance and I chose to find out the sex. We picked out baby names years ago, and we got sick of calling our baby Thingy. Someone else said, rule number one for pregnant people is not to surprise them. I've never heard of a surprise gender reveal before, or someone else throwing it other than the couple. There were some surprise showers, though. Those were not usually appreciated either. It just goes to show how much she cares about you and your son's health over giving you this party. I think they misstated that. I think it should say it just goes to show how much she cares about giving you this party over you and your son's health. Anyways, they also said, side note, November is the perfect time to have a baby. The weather isn't too bad for the early appointments, depending on where you live. I'm in the Northeast US, but it's also a good excuse to stay home during the early bonding months. And you're not too pregnant during the hot summer months, which I think is the most important. You're probably in a completely different area of the globe. I hope you all have a surprise-free rest of your pregnancy and birth. OP responded, yeah, I wouldn't appreciate a surprise shower right now either. I usually have nothing against surprises, but indulging in them while pregnant feels like a nightmare. I live in the southern hemisphere, so my baby will be here right before summer. But I'm used to warm weather, and at least I won't be pregnant anymore when it gets really hot. And then someone else said, I agree with you there. Being cringe is not the issue. Liking cringy stuff is great. We all do. But setting fire to your house over your kid's assigned sex is not. OP responded, that's certainly one of my issues with gender reveals. And there was a final update. Hey everyone, it's been a while. Hope it's okay for me to update here. I remember promising myself I'd make a final post as soon as the dust had settled, and I'm pretty sure the time has come. First of all, I'm a mom. My son was born in November and he turned 3 months old a little over a week ago. He's beautiful and perfect, and I still can't believe he's here. Secondly, I have some updates on my father and his girlfriend. Most importantly, they broke up last month. Turns out they were cheating on each other. I don't know much about this. That isn't gossip. I can't confirm, but I did have some minor problems with her after my last post. About a week after the conversation I mentioned in my previous update, she became fixated on trying to find out my son's name. According to her, there was a personalized gift she wanted to get me that would need it. She spent 3 weeks asking around about it before giving up. I didn't invite my father's girlfriend to my baby shower. Almost definitely an a-hole move, but I didn't want her there. She was still on her name crusade at the time, and it was becoming exhausting to deal with. My mother was the one who threw it, so it didn't make sense for her to be there anyway. My fiance and I had dinner with her and my father instead, which did end up being nice. She gave us diapers instead of the personalized gift, and it was quite honestly the best thing she could have gotten me. Nothing happened when I went into labor, at least not on that end. I introduced my son to my father through video chat. He kept his part of the deal and didn't visit us, but I later found out his girlfriend did try to convince him to. They came over to meet the baby a bit over a week later. Her mother was visiting them at the time, and I allowed her to join us despite the fact that I never got along with her. Awful decision. She complained the whole visit. Also, according to her, I had it easy because of my C-section, so she felt the need to tell me her whole birth story. My father was particularly upset about this. He told me he had a huge argument with his girlfriend afterwards because her mother ruined his first time meeting his grandchild. The holidays went fine. The breakup happened early in January. Again, I don't know much about it. A few days after I found out, my father's ex-girlfriend texted me. She apologized for whatever stress she had put me through during my pregnancy. We wished each other well. I'm sure both she and my father will start dating their affair partners now. If I learned anything these last few months, it's that my family is a freaking mess. Moving forward, I'll do my best to protect my child from this. I still have over a year until my wedding, so we'll enjoy our time away from the spotlight while it lasts. This will be my last post. Thanks, everyone. Okay. So that was only a couple days ago. I doubt that there's anything left, so we'll go to the next story. Would I be the a-hole if I told my husband he has to choose between me and his friend? I've 37 female, been with my husband 44 male for 17 years. We have kids, a dog, and we used to own a business together. He has this friend who happens to be his little brother's ex-girlfriend, 30 female. So that's weird. Even outside of like the fact that he's the little brother, that she's the little brother's ex-girlfriend, why do you, as a 44-year-old married man, have a friendship with just this random 30-year-old woman? Like, that's totally inappropriate in so many ways. OP said she's been in and out of our lives since she broke up with my brother-in-law over 12 years ago. 12 years ago. Okay. So that means she was 18 when, oh, no. That means she was, let me make sure I'm doing this math right. 12 years. That means she was 18 when the husband was 32. Ain't no way at 32 years old, because this whole, so I can't even get my... So just surface level, a 44-year-old with a 30-year-old, that actually doesn't bother me because a 30-year-old is mature, they've had life experiences, etc. But the fact that he has history with her, he's had history with her over the past 12 years and met her when she was 18 and is now 30, that bothers me. Because and it's your brother's ex. This is all wrong. This is all wrong. And why is she still around if she broke up with the brother? Like, it just, nothing is making sense. Anyways, so Opie says over the last 4 years or so, she's been constantly messaging my husband. She never sends me a message unless my husband tells her that he's not home and she's on her way. Happened only once in 4 years. She's engaged and has a baby on the way. Both my husband and his friend say they have a brother-sister relationship. My kids don't like her or her kid. Her kid is 7 years younger than our youngest child. They feel like they have to babysit her when she comes over. This is what bothers me about their relationship. Honestly, sis, you don't even have to explain, because just in those first couple paragraphs, we get it. That would bother me too. But she says, 1, I am never included in their conversations online, even when she invites herself over. 2, my husband once told his brother that he thought she was hot, and if he was younger and single, he would try to date her. Why would you tell your brother that about his ex? She says, my brother-in-law sent me a message to warn me about their relationship. When I spoke to my husband about it, he laughed it off and told me his brother was jealous. Weird. 3, during an intimate moment, my husband told me that she was the only person he would ever ask to do a 3-piece spicy with us. That was never discussed between us before, not even the option of a 3-piece spicy. 4, when she comes over, she barely speaks directly to me, always to my husband. I have to butt into the conversation for her to even acknowledge me. I'm tired of feeling like the third wheel in their friendship. Last year, he gave me one of his old cell phones because mine had broken. He hadn't logged out of his Messenger account, so I used it to my advantage and read their messages at the time. He had admitted to her that he had told his brother that she was hot, and that if he was younger and single, he would date her. He then told her I wasn't home when he said that, and I didn't know exactly what he said. He then told her I wasn't home when he said that, and I didn't. I'm assuming there was like a deleted message or something, and so after that deleted message, his message was, oh, she wasn't home when I said that. I'm assuming that's what she means. I don't really get that part. But OP said that the girl's response was to send him a laughing emoji. She said, ever since then, I feel like they both occasionally disrespect me in their conversations. All he does is talk about her often. He never makes her wait when she texts him, yet sometimes when I text him, he takes a half hour to answer me. So tell me, would I be the a-hole if I told him that he had to choose between his relationship with me and his friend? Now, sis, I'm not here to victim blame, but this has gone on for 12 years. You have allowed this to go on for 12 years. Let's put it a different way. Because at the end of the day, this is your husband. This is you being disrespected for 12 years. Or really, let's say 4 years, because you said over the last 4 years is when she's been kind of ramping up the communication, or when they've been ramping up the communication, because I'm not going to put it all on her. Ain't no way a husband of mine would be communicating with some random ex that my sibling had 12 years ago. Woo! Sorry, I had to pause for a second, so I don't know where I was, but basically, I feel like boundaries should have been drawn a long time ago. A long time ago. This is not normal behavior for a married man with children to be having this quote-unquote friendship with this random woman. Not normal at all. I would have, the first sign of anything happening, I would have been said something like, she texted you. Why is she texting you? Then I would have went to her, excuse me, I don't know what's going on here, but like, as you know, this is my husband. You don't need to be texting him directly. You can just go ahead and message me. Like, this is weird. That's weird. You texting him all the time? He texting you all the time? No, that's weird. Someone else said, not the a-hole, but be prepared to follow through if he doesn't pick you. Opie responded, that's what I'm telling myself. And what she fails to realize is he's already not picked her. He doesn't have to explicitly say, like, the saying is accurate that actions speak louder than words. He has already told you through his actions that he has picked her and not you. So there's nothing to be prepared for. It has happened. It is here. It has happened. Someone else said, I would talk to a lawyer to see what divorce would look like so you're prepared and can start getting your ducks in a row. Yes. 2 months later, there was an update. She said, we've had several talks over the last few weeks. At first, he wanted to work things out. As a matter of fact, he says he never meant any of it, and he keeps apologizing for breaking my trust. Now he's being a plain a-hole. Then he flipped and decided that since I don't want to work on things, he left for his brother's house. He hasn't seen our kids in the past month. He talks to them on the phone, but that's about it. So far, to piss me off, he's cut mine and the kids' cell phone service, so I had to get us new SIM cards for that because otherwise we wouldn't have phones. So not only does he not care about you, he don't care about his kids either. This is a terrible man. This is a terrible, terrible man. He hasn't seen his kids in a month, cut off their cell phone service access to be petty. I would be so disgusted. Like, I would want nothing to do with him at all. She said he's refused to pay anything in regards to school supplies and uniforms. He doesn't want to give me a dime. He hasn't done his taxes this year, which means I won't get any family allowance, which cuts me a $1,800 a month on my budget. This is just... So it sounds like she doesn't work at all, which... See, this is why I be telling people, never be financially dependent on anyone. You should never, ever, 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 ever be financially dependent on anyone. Even if you're at home and not working. Your husband or partner, because sometimes the man stays home, the woman stays home, homosexual relationships, etc. There's all different types of relationships. The partner that's staying home should be receiving some sort of compensation because they're taking a huge sacrifice. They have a career at home while you have a career outside. So if you're the one bringing in a monetary amount, that should be split equally between the household. If they're 100% at home and you're 100% not at home. I do agree with that. And so it sounds like here, she don't have control of the finances. She's not getting any sort of like money that she's able to save and put aside for herself. And that is really sad to see. Like, I really hate to see that. I will never, ever, ever be financially dependent on no man. Ever. Even if I ever become a stay-at-home whatever, like, I'm always gonna make my own money because you're not finna have me out here looking crazy. Oh, I hate to see it. She said, I was able to sign the kids up for a local school supply distribution. The only thing they don't help with is the uniforms. Thankfully, only my older two need uniforms. My oldest has some old uniforms that will be passed down to my other child, which means my daughter will be wearing her older brother's shirts. She's really annoyed by the situation and has been giving me lots of attitude about it. But at the moment, I can't afford t-shirts at $35 a piece with the school's logo on it, so she has no choice. Unfortunately, uniforms are mandatory. Tell her the truth. I would be telling her, well, sis, I really would like to, but since I don't work and I stay home taking care of you guys, and your father has cut me off financially, ask him. Call your father up and ask him for your uniform, because that's the truth. Opie said, I spoke to his friend as well. I told her everything that was going on. He told her he left me because I cheated on him, which isn't true. And she blames herself for what happened. Personally, I just think she was putting on a show. I haven't spoken to her since. If you ask me, I still think she is a hypocrite. Finances are tough. I barely make ends meet. Thankfully, food banks exist because once rent is paid, I barely have anything left over for bills and groceries. I still haven't been able to get the money for a lawyer yet. I've tried taking loans, but that didn't go over well. I've tried the borrow sub, I don't know what that is, and that hasn't worked either. How can you sit here and allow your children to be in this situation to where their mother, that you're still married to, mind you, is having to consider taking out loans to pay their bills, is having to, this is pissing me off. Their mother that you chose to marry, that you chose through sickness and health to honor and protect and all that other stuff, because you're mad about your bad choices and you want to be an a-hole. You're putting your children at risk. You're putting their home at risk, their food security at risk, their education at risk, their entire lives at risk. And got their mom struggling like this? Girl, if you don't go up to that courthouse and file for child support, you filing for all the other stuff, go file for child support and divorce. This is terrible. She said, now it's like we're in a state of Cold War. He refuses to talk to me for the time being. I guess he'll come around eventually for the kids' sake, I hope. What do you mean? This man is evil. He doesn't care about you. Why would you want him to come around? The only reason I would want a man like that to come back around is to come back around to give me the check for my kids. She said, I feel like sometimes I'm drowning in all this mess. Edit. Lots of comments have come up on this post. I didn't expect as many comments. I've read as many as I can, and I'll address a few points. 1, he's gone to stay with his other brother, the second one in the family. My soon-to-be ex is the oldest of 3. It's the youngest of his brothers who told me what's up. 2, I filed my taxes back in March. Oh, okay, so it looks like she does actually work. She said he was supposed to file his a few weeks later. At the time, everything was good between us, and I listed him as my spouse because that's what we've been doing for the past 17 years since we got married. I have to file my next taxes as single. 3, the school uniforms. My oldest kids are in high school, a public high school. Uniforms are mandatory across the school board. I've contacted the school, and unfortunately they don't have any low-cost uniforms. They suggested I take a look at local thrift shops. They do have an emergency budget for uniforms, but only if you have recently arrived in the country. 4, I've contacted several lawyers. I know what my rights are. I know how much it's going to cost me to take him to court. He's quit his job. Whew! I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the reasons I don't ever want to have kids, because I'll be goddamn. If you are such an a-hole that you quit your freaking job just to avoid your duty of taking care of your children and paying the necessary child support. That's literally what it is. Oh, this is why men deserve less. I mean, you can't trust them. You can't trust them as far as you could throw them. They switch up on you. They just be doing stupid stuff. This is why I'll never, ever, ever rely on a man. Ever. Anyway, she said he's quit his job, so suing him for alimony or whatever is going to be tough. I don't qualify for legal aid based on previous taxes. It takes at least 90 days of him being out of the home for me to do anything against him. He's been gone for less than 2 weeks. As for family, I have been no contact with my parents since 2010. They do not know my younger children, nor do they care. I won't be getting into the reasons why here. His family has always been low contact with us. His parents have never liked me, and his brother, who he is staying with, doesn't like me either. This is just an impossible situation, and I really feel for her because, like, she's trying. She really is trying all the things that she can try and is facing blocks pretty much at every turn. And, like, to be with someone for 17 years, not just be with them, but to be married for 17 years. So they probably have been together even longer than that. And then all of a sudden they turn on you like this just within the past few years and start acting like an a-hole and stop supporting their own children that they helped bring into the world is just terrible. It's heartbreaking. It's terrible. Like, I wish I could try and think of a solution or something for her, but obviously she's gone down all the avenues that she can go down, and there's just nothing that she can do. And like, there's nothing in her situation, but let this be a cautionary tale for anyone who is the primary caretaker of their children. Please, please, please make your own money, have your own savings. As you can see, you can never fully trust someone 100%. Unfortunately, people change, they turn on you, things happen, accidents happen, life happens. Always have some sort of emergency savings or something that you can tap into if something ever goes wrong. It really is important. Whew, child. Edit 2 on her post. This man is pissing me off. She said, for those who are saying that the timeline doesn't add up, I left with my 4 kids at the beginning of July to visit my elderly grandmother who doesn't live in the same province as us. It was supposed to give us breathing time to try and work things out. When I came back with the kids, he was already gone. When I was at my grandmother's, he would barely talk to me, but talk to our kids via Messenger. My trip with the kids to my grandmother's is a yearly trip. I didn't know that he would go from wanting to stay and work on things to leaving. I was blindsided by that. Edit 3, I do have a PayPal account I'm not going to start making posts on Facebook blasting him. I'm not setting up a GoFundMe either. I don't want him finding anything out. I don't want to get charged with trying to ruin his reputation either. I don't want him to have anything to use against me in court. Someone said, go file for child support at your local courthouse. You can utilize self-help to assist with filling out forms. Also get some alimony just to be an a-hole. But as we saw in her edits, she can't even do that because he quit his freaking job like a dumbass. Someone else said, I would file for divorce and ask for immediate financial support and full custody of the kids as he has had no physical contact with them. Stop playing with your kids' stability and mental health. Move forward and be their parent. Soon-to-be ex can go play with his friends. Again, as she mentioned, they have to be separated for 90 days for her to really even do anything, and it's only been 2 weeks. Like, he really has put her in an impossible situation. It is very sad to see. But there's an update 7 months later. She said, it's been a long while since I've updated everyone about what's going on. It's been almost 8 long months since he left. Everyone was right when they said he would end up with her. They got married in a civil ceremony on Christmas Day. The only time he asked me for the kids was for the 2 weeks during Christmas break. He wanted them there for his wedding, apparently. He barely talks to the kids now. The kids text him several times a week to let him know what's up with school and their activities. He barely answers them. When he does, he complains about how I won't let him take them overnight. He still posts pictures of his new family daily on social media. They are all still taking weekend trips and all that. I hate how he's flaunting everything for our older kids to see. Our oldest is going to college in the fall, and he's worried about covering his school fees. When he tried talking to his dad about it, his dad told him that now he's almost an adult, so it's not his problem anymore. She said, I did take him to court. I found myself a good lawyer who took on my case for free. We had our first court date last week. It went well. I got full custody of the kids. We have another court date to determine child support. He's still not working legally, so the judge is having a hard time setting an amount for child support. So far, all the documents he brought to court show that he is on welfare and that his new wife pays their rent, bills, and vacation. Okay, so take the child support out of her check. They're one now. Her money is his money is her money. Take the money from her. OP says, I don't buy any of that, neither does the court. He's ordered by the court to provide documentation that he's done his taxes this year, and he has to try and place himself within the job market in a reasonable amount of time in order to provide for the children he does have. Our next court date is in April. Hopefully he's going to get his stuff sorted out. As for me, I'm still working 2 jobs to make ends meet. I'll be moving next month with the kids into an apartment in a co-op building. This is really, really bothering me. This is really bothering me. How can somebody do this to their kids? Like, OP aside, because, people break up and whatever. They get divorces, whatever. Like, it is what it is. But you have children that you have a responsibility to. How can you do this to your own kids? You got them living in a co-op. She said, my rent will be much lower than what I'm paying now. I'm stressing out about my finances. Moving is expensive. I have to hire a company to help me move all of our stuff. Plus, with my son starting college soon, summer break and all that, I'm stressed out all day, every day. All I see are expenses coming up. I'm still exhausted all the time. I work more than I am at home with my kids. I hope that within the next year, things get better for us. I've started my own small business online. Hopefully that picks up too. I haven't started dating either. I'm not interested in meeting anyone yet. For those of you who wrote to me saying I blew up my life and family and called me the a-hole in this situation, I don't think I was the a-hole. I deserve better. If I am to ever update this again, it will be on my own page. Someone said, I'm proud of you, OP. I know it's tough now, but you will come through on the other side stronger than you were before. Someone else said his wife will end up paying his child support, most likely depending on the state. OP responded, "We are in Canada. They aren't legally married yet. They only did a civil ceremony and didn't have a marriage license. My ex admitted this in court. Their marriage has no legal value for the moment. Knowing how he is, they won't ever get a marriage license." Someone else said, "I'm sure in Canada, legally married or not, they may be considered common law partners depending on how long they've been together. If that's the case, ask your lawyer if they can review their earnings as a household since she's apparently paying for everything." OP responded, "They have only been together since August or September if my memory serves me right." I just really want to the ex-husband. And this is why I don't want no kids. This is one of the reasons why I don't want no kids. I always say it will take a very, very, very special man, situation, and monetary amount for me to even consider bringing a kid into this world. I mean, the economy is already trash. Also, I'm selfish. Like, I don't want to have to consider another person other than myself, for real, if I'm being completely honest. But if I am going to make that choice, then I want to make for dang sure that my kid is going to have a wonderful life. I'm not trying to have my kid at a co-op or on welfare or, all these things. And that's when the father of the kid comes into play. I would have to have the assurance to know that this man is not going to switch up when the kid comes. And the thing is, you never really have that assurance. You never, ever, ever really have that assurance. He could be a great man, great with his nieces and nephews, treats people with respect, works hard, etc. But once that baby comes, I'm telling you, things change. Things change. It's not the same. Having a baby of your own is not the same as caring for your nieces and nephews overnight every once in a while. It's just not the same. And so you never really have 100% confidence that your man is going to be a good father, because you don't know until they're actually the father. And by that time, you can't put the kid back. The kid is here. It's a risk. It's a risk that I don't think I'm willing to take. Really, the only way, if I ever plan to have a kid, I always have to consider that I might be doing this alone. So that would be the only way. If I'm comfortable being a single mother, then yes, I'll have a kid. Married or not, you have to be comfortable with potentially doing this on your own. Because people, I'm telling you, I've seen it so many times. I've seen it so many times. People switch up. That's really how you have to go into it. I feel so bad for this lady. This is just terrible. This really is just terrible. Then he flaunting the new family on social media. Please, let's go to the Palate Cleanser. We need it. We need it. So this is from the Made Me Smile subreddit. The title just says, "Think he was surprised." And basically, this young boy gets surprised with a gift that he has really been wanting. So let me play it.
And Sailor.
Oh my gosh, it's a dirt bike!
It's a dirt bike!
He got a toy dirt bike.
Just what you wanted.
That's blue.
Show me.
It's just exactly what I wanted.
Just exactly.
Exactly.
Is it the right color?
No, but it's okay. I still like it.
What's the right color? Huh? Red.
So for those that aren't watching, the boy is facing away from the front door. And so I'm assuming it's his dad who's in the background, opens the front door of the house and rolls in an actual red dirt bike, like a life-size one. And he's cranking the little lever on it to get the engine going so that the boy can hear it, so that he'll be surprised. So
Red. Oh.
But it's fine. I still like it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
then he starts it up. The boy looks back and he instantly starts crying. Oh.
Are you gonna look at it?
That's so cute. Oh, that's so cute.
Sit on it, make sure it's good.
So he gets on it, filling it out. Oh, I thought that was so sweet. I just love when parents really know their kids and they get them gifts that they know that they actually will like and use and appreciate. And then when the kids are equally just as like grateful and surprised, it just warms my heart. Anyway, child, ooh, that last story still got, I feel like the palate cleanser didn't even work. Like, it still got me riled up, but that's okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.